VERs or CERs? Coming right up. Hey everybody, Zach here with Infernal Tool Technologies, and today we are going to be talking about VERs and CERs. What are they? Which one will work for you? Which one's mandatory and which one's not? So we're going to get into it. But first, I'd just like to say thank you for coming to the channel, and if I'm bringing you any value in this video, then please hit the like button down below, and think about subscribing to the channel if this is an industry that you're in, if these videos pertain to you, and if you're just interested in the content that I'm bringing to you today. So, what is a VER? A VER is a voluntary emission reduction, and basically one VER stands for 1 ton of carbon. So if you're emitting or reducing 1 ton of carbon, that is worth a VER. So if you emit 1 ton of carbon and you want to offset that, then you can purchase a VER, and it will also offset that 1 ton of carbon that you are emitting into the atmosphere. And so the other one is a CER, which is a certified emission reduction. And a certified emission reduction is mandatory. And basically you get this, it is distributed through the United Nations, and it is basically given out to countries that are, it hasn't gone totally through in the Paris Agreement yet, but it's going to be the countries that are all agreed upon in the Paris Agreement. They are going to have meet reduction goals, and these CERs are going to be what they have to use to offset what they're emitting. If they're emitting too much and they're not actually reducing enough, they're going to have to purchase some of these on an open market. So let's delve a little bit deeper on this, because right now the CERs are not too important. There's a lot of stuff going on with the Paris Agreement right now where we need to figure out what's going to happen with that until we really understand too much more about CERs and how they're going to play a role. But that's more for just the countries that have agreed into this. So let's just look on the level of the business owners. And so basically right now where it stands is that nothing's mandatory. You can get taxed. Governments are going to tax your business on the amount of carbon that you're putting out there, and you can offset that with these VERs, these carbon credits. And the other reason that people, well, that would be a huge reason why people would want these, is that you want to not have to pay taxes on the carbon that you're putting out. But another reason that a company would decide to use a VER is that it's basically like a PR. It's a PR stunt. Like, you are going to look really good. You're working with companies that are creating these VERs, and you are actively looking to help the environment and meet these sustainability goals. And so when it could potentially be a reason why somebody decides to use your business, whatever it is that you're selling or whatever service that you're offering, people might choose you because you are taking part in these systems. So that might be intriguing to you. Do you want to have people choose your product or service because you are actively enrolled in changing the way that we're treating the earth, basically? And so let's move into how these VERs are actually made. So there's companies out there right now that you can purchase these VERs from, and basically what they're doing is they are setting up programs, certified emission programs around the world, where they're either eliminating deforestation or they're cleaning places up and using spaces for like solar farms, windmill farms as well. And basically what they're doing is they are pulling carbon out of the atmosphere And with that certification that they are doing that, they create a VER basically. So it's work that they're doing at one point in time. People can purchase it at a different point in time. So it's a pretty cool concept, I guess. So it leads to a lot of investment opportunities. So if you have a big plot of land and you have some money that you're sitting on that's burning a hole in your pocket, then maybe it's something to think about. Where if you want to start your own solar farm, you can actually take. Not only could you go to the actual utility supplier and sell the electricity to that, or they can tap into your farm or something like that and make money off of that. You can actually get certified for the carbon that you're reducing, and you can sell your credits on the open market. And so what's very interesting about this is that this is going to be really good at certain points in time. I mean, I'm sure everybody that's watching this video knows that the marketplace is very volatile when it comes to certain things that they're trading. Well, this is not going to avoid that volatility as well. It already has been very volatile, where the price per ton of carbon could go, it went all the way up to $35, and it's gone down to I think like $8. I mean, it's all over the place right now. And I think a lot of that has to do with these agreements like the Kyoto Protocol and the Doha Amendment, and then the dissolution of that whole protocol basically because America was not taking part in it, and then the Paris Agreement, and how there has been a lot of back and forth with that. And I think that has really played a part in this market. People just don't know what's going to happen. Is this going to become something that is everyday life? We are trading these carbon credits around. We're going to get taxed to the hilt unless we have these carbon credits. And so it's going to become basically mandatory that people purchase these and use them on a yearly basis. I personally believe this is going to happen. So I'm just very interested in learning about this stuff, and I hope you guys stick along for the journey because we're just going to delve really deep into this and make sure that we're at the forefront of this, because there are a lot of great things that come from this with the sustainability goals and trying to become carbon neutral, but there also is a lot of laws and regulations that are going to hurt a lot of people, and it's gonna benefit the rich. I mean, a lot of these programs just do. If I don't know what part of the country you're in, if you're in America, or what part of the world you're in, but I'm sure you've noticed that solar farms have been going up all over the place. Wind farms have been going up all over the place, and a lot of these changes have been taking place over 10 years now, 12 years now. It's really seen a big change, and I think it's because these people knew this was coming down the pipeline, so they put a lot of money into this, and they know it's going to be a huge market. It's right now it's a little shaky. You're thinking about it, you're like, no way, this is crazy. Like I want to start a business, I want to manufacture this product, and I'm going to have to worry about programs, certified emission programs in different parts of the world, and buying voluntary emission reduction certificates and using them to my government to avoid the carbon taxes that they're going to be putting on my business. But I'm here to tell you that this is just going to become a reality. The next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years are really going to we are going to roll into this quickly. Because there's the goals, like in my videos in the past, we've been talking about how they have their sustainability goals for 2030, their sustainability goals for 2050, and countries are doing everything that they can right now to meet these goals. I don't know who's putting the pressure on them or what the song and dance is to make people get behind this, what the rush is. I think they say it's because of global warming, it's the warming of the earth, but I think there's some other reasons behind this, that people are going to get left behind in the dust if they don't adapt and change to this system that is coming. It's been out for a very long time, but it's been mainly geared around countries and big businesses. But I'm here to tell you that it's going to trickle down to the smaller businesses, just the mom and pop shops. It's going to get even deeper than that too. It's going to go into just small companies, service sector economy as well. What you're doing on your commutes, if you have employees, they're commuting to different places. If you're delivering stuff, the delivery routes, these things, it's going to get down to that nitty gritty level. But basically, we've only seen it at this very up in the sky level. I'm here to say that pretty soon we're going to be able to see it from ground level. You can get your look up in the sky and you'll see this market forming. This market where the businesses that you know and see in the news are using these credits constantly, trading them back and forth, investing in ways to create these credits themselves. It's going to become a big, big thing. And once the Paris Agreement goes into effect, then these CERs are going to be a big deal as well. So countries that are not meeting these goals, they are going to be, like I said, they're going to be left in the dust. So if the CERs are mandatory, this whole VER system is voluntary right now. The CERs are mandatory. So if a country, let's just use any country out there right now, like Great Britain, if Great Britain is running its country very inefficiently and it has a surplus of carbon, then it's going to have to purchase these CERs from a different country, a more efficient country that has a lot more of these credits, that is not actually emitting so much carbon. So it's going to be a race for these countries to try to come up with these sustainability goals, because they're going to want in excess of these CERs. Because basically what's going to happen is if a country finds itself in a place where it has too much carbon at the end of the year, or whatever the term is on this, they're going to have to come at the taxpayers. And they're going to find this money somewhere, or go deeper into debt, which eventually trickles down to the taxpayers anyway. So it's going to be it's going to hit two fronts. It's going to make people see poorly on their country just because it's going to have to raise its taxes on its citizens, but as well, the citizens are going to see these their leaders and think, well, why aren't you on board for all these sustainability changes? Do you not care about the environment? Are we just the country out here that is emitting so much and we're destroying the earth? Are you going to have a lot of people leaving your country because of this? So that's what I really believe is what this is all about. It's countries trying to adapt, be the quickest at the table, and be able to be the shining star in this industry. Because if you're not, then you are going to be heavily hurt. I mean, you are going to get butchered. And like I talked in my last video, not only do we have to have such a sustainable society in each of these countries to where we actually lower our carbon to where we're carbon negative. They just want us to be carbon neutral by 2050, but from that point on, it's going to be a race to be carbon negative. Some countries have already pledged to be carbon negative before 2050 because they want these credits. And part of this agreement as well, being in this agreement, is you have to pledge that you are going to invest $100 billion a year into developing nations. So this is all going to tie together. It's just a complete race of these people trying to become super efficient to where they can have these CERs, and with these CERs they can sell them on the open marketplace. They can take the $100 billion that they need for that year, and they can put it into a country and get their foot in the door and get a stronghold in whatever these developing nations that they're putting their money into. So countries are just gearing up for this. They've been gearing up for this. Even though the agreement isn't totally settled yet, they have been gearing up for it. And I'm here to just raise a red flag of awareness to just the Joe Schmoes out there and the Janes out there, that we need to be behind this and we need to navigate this ourselves, because depending on the country that you live in, you might suffer from this. It's going to impact the economy immensely, because these countries are going to want to reduce their carbon so bad that they're going to be pushing on the businesses. They are going to be extremely hard on the businesses, that if you are not meeting your carbon goals, then they are going to tax the bejesus out of you. They are going to tax you so hard that you are forced to either go out of business or you're forced to become sustainable. And if you're a business owner out there right now, maybe you have a small factory or plant, maybe you produce some product, these are things that you're really going to have to start thinking about and making the changes. Do you produce this thing where you live, or do you offshore what you produce? Is the country that you're offshoring your product in, are they meeting their sustainable goals? These are things that you really need to start thinking about and making business moves around, because you don't want to be caught and be blindsided by when the laws and regulations come into effect. I speak about this on every single one of my videos. Once the laws and the regulations are put in place, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Are you going to throw your hands up and say, I'm out of business? Do you want to do that? I highly doubt that you want to do that. We all get in business because we want to make some money. We want to make change to the world. And you don't want to put all that sweat and time and effort that you did for all those years and just let it go because you were not behind these changes that are in front of us, but a lot of things are happening behind the scenes. So, like I said in the beginning of this video, I'm going to kind of repeat myself as well, that if you are interested in what I'm speaking about here, then please hit this subscription button down below. I'm going to be putting many more videos out. I try to do them as much as possible. I'm in the middle of a move right now, and once I get to my new place, then I'll hopefully have a more set up station for you guys and be able to really nail down some research to where we can get behind this and we can make some big changes. And if this video in particular brought you any value, then please hit the like button down below. And I urge everybody on every one of my videos to please comment. Let me know what you're thinking. Does this information hit you somewhere? Do you have a business where you know this is going to affect you? Do you know more about this than I do? Share it down below, please. I would love to start this conversation. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next one.